Hi everyone, I'm Binbin Wang. I'm the Yale World Fellow this year and also the co-founder of China Center of Climate Change Communication. And I work on climate since 2009, the COP15 in Copenhagen, and so more than decades of years on climate.
Great. My first question for you is, what is COP28 and why is it important for the global fight against climate change?
Okay, so COP28 is a big conference organized by UN on climate change, and it's the 26th conference, and it's organized every year by UNFCCC. So UNFCCC is the UN framework of climate change. So this is also the core coordination organization and helps the national leaders come together and negotiate, and also the multi-stakeholders can join the conference, organize their own side events, and to discuss how to address climate change together. And this year, COP28, the registered number is more than 90,000.
What are the main takeaways from U.S China cooperation at the COP28 summit?
So this COP28 is a historic COP, not only because so many people go to Dubai, it's also because there are some fruits, like there are loss and damage fund help the poor small island people to address climate change, to adapt to the extreme weather, and also there are 83 billion US dollar was mobilized to help the people to address climate change, and 11 declarations and a lot of initiatives announced in Dubai. So it's a kind of so many people come together from different countries. We all care about our common future. And U.S. and China played a very important role. It's a kind of joint leadership. Right before COP28, John Kerry, the U.S. Special Envoy, and Xie Zhenhua, the Chinese Special Envoy, they met in Sunnyland in California and produce a joint statement on climate change. And in this way, they show their joint leadership and also encourage the worldwide national leaders to, work together and show their commitment to address climate change, encourage more people to join this common mission. So it's so important, to build up a very solid step for a successful COP28. And during COP28, like Minister Xie Zhenhua and John Kerry, they are so busy, to work together, help to push the negotiation, and also try to find the balance between the two countries and also with other countries to see, finally on from COP28, we got a balanced consensus, and not only about mitigation, is also about food system, about agriculture, about young people, about women. So when we talk about carbon neutrality, it's really about everyone, everywhere, and it's a systematic transformation. And the U.S. China now are playing a very important joint leadership, as same as they played in the previous years. And I believe in the future is also so important to show this kind of collective leadership with other countries.
In recent years, how has the U.S. China relationship affected your work, or from your opinion, climate research in general?
To address climate change, you need everyone to contribute your sense, our sense, and U.S. and China in the previous years, especially right before the historic agreement, Paris Agreement is in 2015, they played a very important role. It's also right before the Paris Agreement, Paris Conference. U.S. and China, they have announced a joint statement. I think two joint statements to show their commitments is so important. But unfortunately, right after the Paris Agreement signed off, and in 2016, Trump announced that U.S. will withdraw from the Paris Agreement, and we are so shocked, and we never thought that so immediately, the happiness coming and then disappear. But even though, as I observed, at the very beginning we feel upset, but then we found although like Trump himself announcement is that kind of negative, but some states, cities, universities, they still work on climate. And right after the announcement to withdraw from Paris Agreement, during that COP, there is a new pavilion. Usually there should be a U.S. pavilion, but that year no U.S. pavilion. But U.S. people gather there, and the name is People's Pavilion. And the slogan inside the pavilion is, "We are still here." So as a people outside U.S., we really feel, wow, so encouraged. No matter what kind of atmosphere outside, we still have the U.S. people. We shake hands and we shoulder by shoulder for our common goal. It's so important for this kind of people-to-people, bilateral support.